Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's version of DevOps Derek Weekly. I'm back as I am every Monday evening at 6 p.m. UK time. And this week I have Mert Yeter on with me. Hey, Mert, how are you today?
I am fine and I am very excited to be here. And how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. It's Monday. It's DevOps Derek Weekly. It's always exciting. So no, it's really good. Really good. Thank you very much for asking. So, what are we going to be talking about today?
So today we are going to talk about Traefik and we are going to talk about Azure, AKS, and how can we use Traefik as a load balancer on AKS and
Cool.
similar stuff.
Awesome. Awesome. So, what is traffic proxy then?
Okay, Traffic proxy is a definition from documentation. It is a cloud edge native edge router. So as you can see on the screen, when you send a request to your infrastructure or your cloud service, it uses as a proxy and send your request to the correct place. For example, API domain com request come to traffic and he is sent to the API server, which hosts in Kubernetes. And another example is for domain.com/web, and it's sent to again a Kubernetes cluster, but this time it goes to web server. Another example, if you went to an admin page like backoffice.domain.com, it goes to your Docker swarm and in a container, backoffice server. And I want to retain my friend's definition here, Brian Kirstner. He said that traffic is like a gatekeeper. You come to the building and ask him, I want to go to here, go to that, and he shows you the correct way.
Right. Cool. So, it's a way to route traffic between service one and service two.
Yes.
Awesome. Awesome. Um, so, what's the difference between traffic proxy and, say, for instance, other edge routers? What are the differences between them?
Okay, there are several differences, but the most important difference, this is my opinion, by the way, is automatic auto service discovery, as you can see on the page. Can you scroll down? Maybe we can see
Yeah,
better. Or may I share my screen?
you certainly can. Go, please do.
Okay. Let's take your screen. Can you see it?
I will just add it in just now. There we go.
Okay. That makes bigger. So this is the official traffic documentation. You can find everything here. So what is auto service discovery? Auto service discovery is, for example, you deploy Kubernetes cluster or a Docker swarm or another component. And another proxies, you need to make some configuration, for example, a configuration file. And if you change something, for example, deploy new containers or change some configuration, you need to change that configuration file again. But in Traefik, you don't need to do this because when you, for example, deploy a container, it's automatically detected and another configuration. Because for it has some providers. For example, it's a Docker provider and a distinct Docker socket and get the changes automatically, as well as the Kubernetes. And I will show you the details in the demo. I will do it later. So I think this is the best difference, and any other differences, but I want to mention them later because there are lots of stuff, as you can see here.
Awesome, awesome. So obviously, you've mentioned Docker Swarm and Kubernetes. Does it do, like for instance, infrastructure as a service with virtual machines, or is it purely for containers?
As far as I know, we use is containers, but if you are asking which platform does it support, it supports nearly all of the platforms because, for example, you can use a basic file and a huge Kubernetes cluster, sorry, and a cloud system. It may be an Azure or Google Cloud Platform or AWS. So it supports nearly every platform.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Looks really cool. So I see there, install Traefik. How can I install it?
So is the basic installation is using the official Traefik containers. You can say Docker run Traefik and it start running. And you can find some examples in the quick start. Like there are lots of samples here. And I want to show you the samples. By the way, I am going to put the samples on my GitHub page and share it with you.
Awesome.
Okay. This is the basic Docker compose file. I've created a service, and these are the CLI configuration. I am using the Traefik image, and this is called the endpoint. As you can understand from its name, it is the endpoint to our system, where Traefik gets the requests, and it is coming from port 80. This is the provider. As I mentioned from I said Docker socket or Kubernetes provider. You make the provider definition. I will use Docker here, so I add Docker provider. And this is for the dashboard access, and this is used only for development purposes or test purposes. Please do not use API insecure. When you use this one, you will open all the Traefik APIs to the world, and everyone can use it. Everyone can access your dashboard. It is not secure, but I will say it again: if you are using development or testing, you can use it. And this is port mapping. I am mapping ports 80 to 80. Port 8080 for the Docker, Traefik dashboard access. And here I am matching the Docker socket for getting configuration changes automatically. And this is a container image for the deployment. And I have to add these labels. I am enable Traefik and add some router. And I am adding an host name here. When you send request to localhost port 80, it is getting this one and use the routing configuration to send the request in the service. And this is the endpoint, next this one. This is the very basic configuration. When you run this, you have a this image running and running Traefik in front of it.
Awesome. So I notice that you've got providers. What other providers does Traefik provide?
Okay, let me show you on here. These are the providers supported. As I said, you can use a basic file, Kubernetes, Consul, Marathon, Rancher, Zookeeper, Redis. There are lots of providers, and you can find samples there.
Awesome. The documentation looks very strong.
Yes, there are very strong documentation. And also you can find lots of samples on the GitHub page. And also you can find other Traefik ambassadors GitHub accounts.
Awesome. So it supports YAML as well as CLI.
Yes, CLI is the sample I showed you.
Awesome.
And this is the other file format, TOML. You can use it if you don't like YAML. But I prefer CLI. By the way, it supports environment variables. You can use environment variables for configuration. You can use a configuration file, or you can use the CLI parameters. It is up to you. It's your choice.
Awesome.
You don't have to use only CLI, but as it will be a demo or testing, I prefer CLI.
To be honest, that's my preference as well. Quite often the CLI is easier to use than the portal, I find, with most products.
Yeah.
No, that's really cool. So yeah, no, that's that. I can see a lot of use cases for this, but what I'm wondering here just now, Mert, is can you give me some use case examples that where you've used it?
Okay, there are lots of use case examples, but let me start from the basics. I've created a AKS cluster here, and let me show you. This is a basic AKS cluster. I created this like next. And the difference is we need a public IP. I know a public IP is created by default, but it is used by AKS and we cannot use it again. So I create a public IP for Traefik load balancer here. And we need to make some configuration for deploying to AKS. And the good thing is, as it cloud native, you can use everywhere for your on-prem Kubernetes clusters or in Azure or a different environment. First thing, you need to set this role-based access control file like this. You need to deploy this one. And as I said, I also shared this on GitHub, so I don't want to talk about it. It's a very basic file. And this is our deployment file for Kubernetes. I made some definitions for load balance, for Traefik ingress load balance, as you can see here. So I am using the latest version. I am adding the container ports. Then this is for the dashboard and for the sample container. Again, I set API insecure true. This time I added the Kubernetes ingress as a provider. And this is my endpoint from port 80. And I added a service for it. It's the TCP protocols here. It's a load balancer, and this is our public IP we have defined on Azure. Because I don't want to get a dynamic IP, I want a static IP. Because I need a host name to complete the deployment. This is my host name for that static IP. And when you get to this address with this path, root path, it is redirect my request to this container.
Yep.
And let me show you the dashboard. Okay, this is the Traefik dashboard, and I think it's a perfect place to show what Traefik can do. And this is port 8080. As you can see, it's Traefik for the endpoint for the dashboard. And you can see the dashboard link here. If you go to port 80, this is the container. This is our application running in that container. And you can explore routers here, services, and middlewares. Okay, let's explore routers. Okay, the router is the entry point. When you come to Traefik, this is my router definition. When you come to my AKS, azure.com, and this pet prefix, it means here is the root. It's sent this request to my service, and you can see the other details here. It's a provider, it's working, there's no problem, and you can see the endpoint, which service it's using, and this is the service details. I have a container, one container running. It's the container's internal IP, and if you send this request from the browser, it will come to this container, and you can see is the details. And also it supports not only HTTP, it supports TCP and UDP. You can see other configuration here. Also, it says some features, tracing metrics and access log. We can talk about later. You can see their status and config providers here. And we have a very cool tag team. If you want to use it.
You need dark mode. Dark mode for everywhere.
Yes. And let's get back to the source again. Okay, now we have only one container running, and let's get it to 2. Okay, where is my deployment? I made 2 replicas. By the way, this is the official container image, again from Traefik. You can use it for the demo purposes. It's very good to show every details for your container. Okay. Say deployment is configured. And I will get back to let's refresh. Okay. I haven't changed anything. I don't know any configuration file. Didn't say anything, but it gets the new container. This is the service discovery. So we have 2 containers running behind the services, and you can see their IP. So let's make a request. I'm using curl because I want to do it fast to make the load balancing. Okay. Okay, I sent 2 different requests. This is the first container gate host name, and as you can see, the second request we hit the other one. So it's making a round robin load balancing. You can also see the other container information here.
Nice. So you can use it then for balancing containers. So that could be, websites. It could even be SQL containers as well. Would that be accurate?
Yes, you can not only use for web applications, API. You can also use TCP or UDP applications if you have. And the good thing is, this is not only for load balancing. There are some other cool features. Do you want me to continue or
Yeah, please do.
Okay.
Yeah, no, please do.
Okay. For example, most used scenario is making an HTTPS redirection. You can modify requests with Traefik, and you can redirect your HTTP request to HTTPS. You can use Let's Encrypt. There's an implementation. And if you Sorry.
So this supports SSL offloading then. So you could put that.
Yeah.
So your SSL certificate, could that sit at the traffic level, or does that need to be also on the containers?
Yes, it goes to the. Let me show you an example because it's the right one. I think if you Google like Traefik AKS, yes, this is from official Microsoft documentation. You can use Traefik ingress control config HTTPS, and this is a sample for Azure databases, and you can use Traefik there to make a HTTPS configuration. This is also a good documentation for this, and it's also using this encrypt. But I think you need a host name, sorry, a domain name to run this
Yeah,
authentication.
you need a custom domain name,
Yeah,
probably
custom
with like a
domain.
TXT record in place, so that you can
Yes,
verify that you own the domain.
you need to add a records to your domain.
Awesome.
But
Oh,
this is
that's
a
really
good
cool.
documentation. What I want to say is Microsoft also using Traefik in their products, as you can see here. So regarding to the modifying requests, the very cool feature is here is the middlewares. By the way, before jumping into middlewares, you can see the TLS and the encrypt samples here. So the middleware is the most one of the most important features of Traefik. I'm a developer, and this section is reduce the development cost. For example, shall I go on one by?
Please do.
Okay.
Yeah, please do.
Okay, this is a very basic one. You can add graphics middleware. It is working like the ASP.NET MVC, and it's similar to that middleware. So you add a middleware when you request a domain slash part, and you add a foo before the one. It's a very basic one. You can add a basic authentication. If your application doesn't have an authentication and you want to add an authentication, you can add it with a single label here. And I have some examples for the middlewares. I am trying to finish them with their sample configuration. When I've finished all of the samples, I will put them in my GitHub account, so you can find an example configuration file, each one of the middlewares. And this is a basic authentication. You also have some buffering middleware. You can limit access if you don't want to lots of requests come to your application. You can buffer them with their size or memory size and send them with unchecked requests to your application. And chain request is you can use multiple middlewares at the same time. You can chain them. It is again like the ASP.NET MVC where you can also add a circuit breaker. We are using different circuit breaker technologies in development, but you don't need to add these NuGet packages to your code, write additional code to your application. You can add a couple of labels and you have a circuit breaker running in production. It's very easy to implement. As you know, when you add something to your application, you need to make some tests before go to production, and deploying into production is another process, and it takes too much time to do some changes. But with this middlewares, you don't need to change your codes. And compress one, you can compress your requests if you don't add your code. This is a auto-detect content type. This is a digest authentication. And errors. Errors is the I think it's important one, because when we write an application or deploy an existing application, we don't use good error pages. I can call it developer error page. We use very simple error pages. With this middleware, you can use custom and error pages. You can change them where you host it, because it is not hosted on Traefik. You can host it error pages different places. You can redirect the errors according to their numbers. For example, if you have 500 errors, you can send them to 500 HTML, or 400 errors, you can send to a different HTML. I can't remember its name, but there is an container has lots of beautiful custom error pages. You can use it with this middleware.
Really like that though. I do like using it's error, 'cause, one of those bugbears that I have is when I go to a website and there's a problem. One of the problems I hate seeing is nasty .NET errors, or whereas obviously having a nice error page is actually so important
Yes.
nowadays. So this is really cool.
Yeah. And this is another good example. You can use the third-party authentication server and use for authentication middleware. You can send your credentials to authentication server and use that results to authenticate or not. And you can modify headers, both request and others. And you can use whitelisting. This for you can use for security purposes, or limit access to your application for a specific time. It is a similar buffering. You can limit the number of simultaneous in-flight requests with this one. And you can pass TLS certificates, and rate limiting. You can limit the access rate again.
I think one of the questions I should probably ask you is, what doesn't it do? I think that would probably be a shorter answer, Mert, if I'm being honest. This is really good.
Yeah. And there are some other place paths, retries, prefix, and others middlewares. But the good thing is it's a new feature of Traefik. You can write your own middleware. There is an implementation. You can write with Go and implement your own middleware with your needs. And you don't need to start with these middlewares. For example, if you want a security scan with the request, you can write your own security middleware and use with your Traefik deployment.
Awesome. Sounds very
You
flexible.
you can find the details in the plugins and Pilot section. By the way, Traefik Pilot is the solution that you can centralized solution. You can track your Traefik deployments, and you can see this notification is asking for you to connect your Traefik Pilot. You can track your instances, their details from one place. And this is a very nice feature. Sorry, I didn't log in to my account. But you can, if you register your instance, you can track all of your instances, not only this cluster. For example, for another cloud provider or on-premise, You can track and manage all of your traffic instances from one place. It's also a new feature, and also you can see your plugins. And there is a marketplace here, and this is from the community. And also there are lots of official ones from Traefik. Yeah.
That's awesome. So obviously, I mean, there seems to be no end of what traffic can actually do. But one of the things I'm interested in is what I'd like to see is it metrics. Because one of the things is, you know, you can configure everything, but what's really handy sometimes is actually seeing it live. You know, X amount of transactions or connections.
Yeah.
Does it have the ability to track that?
Okay. Traefik only have a dashboard, but if you want to see some metrics, you can find in under the observability section. You can use the mostly known metric dashboards, Datadog, InfluxDB, Prometheus. It supports that. If you don't want to use it, you can use a text file, maybe integrate it with Firebase, Elasticsearch, and it's open-ended. There are lots of possibilities to show your metrics. By the way, you can open logs in Traefik, so you can see what's happening behind Traefik. But it is producing lots of logs. So be aware, it's going to be a huge log file before opening the internal logging.
Cool, cool. It's really cool. And I noticed it says pricing up there. So I had a little look. What I'm interested in is obviously most everything that you're talking about. This is the open source free version. Is that correct?
Yes, open source version. There's enterprise edition version. It says some some features, but this is for I am talking for the open source version. You can use all of these features with this. There is no limitation.
Cool, cool. So if someone was very into traffic and was really happy with it, what does the enterprise product bring over the open source?
Sorry, can you repeat that again? Your voice is not here.
Yeah. Sorry. What I was asking was I found this little page. So obviously with the open source, all the great stuff's there. Obviously there are some which obviously only come with the enterprise level. So what I was hoping there was some information on what you get with
Yeah.
the enterprise product. It's all on here on screen, so you can come
Yes.
to traffic.io / pricing, and you'll be able to see
Yeah.
this. So if it is something there, then obviously certainly get in touch with Traffic about the enterprise product. So personal question for you, mate. Obviously, I understand you're an ambassador of all things traffic.
Yeah.
What features do you like the most?
Okay. As a developer, the middleware is perfect feature for me, and writing your own middleware is another one. But the auto service discovery is the perfect feature for everyone because you know the YAML files is not good, and the most of the products using YAML, you know, if you do a little mistake in indentation, it is going to be a disaster for everyone. So the auto service discovery is the best feature, I think.
Awesome, awesome. I'm gonna check that out. And obviously, how long have you been using Traffic for?
I am using for I think 2 years. but I need to confess this, we are not using in our company right now. I am using in my own applications. Yeah, they are not very big.
Cool.
I can say I use it personally, but good news for the Traefik people. We think we will try Traefik because we are using Azure, and now we are trying to make our applications migrate them to microservices. And when we accomplish this, we will start using AKS and Traefik.
Awesome, awesome. So yeah, no, that all sounds great. To be honest, I think I'm going to try and find a pet project and start using it. So obviously, for people like myself and or people who are on the obviously on today's stream or watching it afterwards, where would you go? What sort of resources can you share with us to learn traffic and all about it and how to get stuck into it?
Okay, the first place is the official documentation. I'm going to share my screen again. Um, okay, this is your endpoint, like your request. So you can find lots of stuff here, like concepts, quick start, configuration samples. And also you can find and ask questions to other traffic ambassadors on Twitter or LinkedIn. And if you want to do it more professional or want to learn it more deep dive, I can suggest you a training. I think okay. The Byte.io is a training platform, and you can find a traffic training there. It's also from a traffic ambassador, Brian Christner. And I also take this course. There are lots of stuff there. You can also have a look at this. The good thing is when a new feature released, it's automatically you can see it on a documentation. But Brian is going to add this to their training, so you will be up to date all the time.
Awesome, awesome. No, honestly, that's really good. I'm going to actually have a look at that. I'm just having a look at the training just now. I'm a big fan of training. Um, so yeah, no, that's all. That's all the questions I have for you, mate. I think traffic looks really great. I'm definitely going to have a look at it. Um, obviously, I'm aware that you have Twitter, a website, etc., and obviously you're part of Cloud Family. So obviously, if anyone did want to get in touch with you, where would they get in touch with
So you can reach me on Twitter or LinkedIn. So you can follow me on GitHub if you want, because I'm trying to share my stuff we're doing in the webcasts or other blog posts, trying to add that.
you?
But I'm an active Twitter user, so the best place is Twitter, I think.
Twitter. Excellent. So you can catch Mert on Twitter at Mert Yeter. So that's M with a Mike. So that's M for Mike, number 3, RTYYETER. So that's M for Mike, number 3, Romeo, Tango, Yankee, Echo, Tango, Echo, Romeo. Well, mate, unfortunately, I've really enjoyed today's session. Thank you so
Me
much. I
too.
learned a bunch. Obviously, I hope other people learned as well. So I just want to say thank you very much. And I'm going to be back next week. I'm going to be back next week, same time. And in next week's session, we're going to have someone else. And we're on, so that's going to be November the, oh my, it's already November.
Yeah.
So that's always interesting. So obviously, what I have is next Monday evening at 6 p.m. Again, I have Pete Gallagher, where we're going to be talking about the Internet of Things. Really looking forward to that as well. So until next week, enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll see you next week.
Okay. See you.